This is our definitive collection of the absolute most pause-worthy moments in the Fast and Furious franchise. Not just the coolest scenes, but the actual moments that had you picking your jaw off the floor and theater audiences howling in disbelief. They're fun in their own way, but the first 3 movies in the Fast franchise clearly follow a pretty predictable formula, right up until the third one enters its final act. To put it kindly, Tokyo Drift is the most polarizing entry in the series, ditching Dom and Brian in favor of country boy Sean Boswell and retired racer Han Lu. Late in the film, as they tear through the packed city streets racing for their lives, Han's car is struck suddenly while going through an intersection. Sean bolts from his own car to help Han, who's trapped and bleeding in the wrecked car, but the gas ignites. Han's death shocked fans and elicited true gasps in the theater. His arc resonated with audiences who watched him overcome a tragic past to find new purpose through Sean.
Life's simple. You make choices and you don't look back.
Fans loved how Han's disaffected lilt and playfulness contrasted beautifully against the chest-thumping bravado of the other racers, making his death sting that much more. This moment is monumental in the franchise. It solidified Tokyo Drift as essential viewing and set in motion the arc that would dominate the next decade of the saga. And when Han came back for the 4th, 5th, and 6th films, we needed to pause things just to figure out the timeline. When a grieving Han tells the crew he's moving to Tokyo in Fast and Furious 6, you could feel the entire theater sit up and pay attention. Everyone wondered if that was it. Was the loop closed now? Then a surprise epilogue floored everyone, playing back Han's death from a new angle. It turned out that this was no random collision. Stunned, we watched Deckard Shaw emerge from the other car and coldly toss Letty's silver cross necklace into the wreckage with Han still trapped. Walking away, Deckard leaves a threatening voicemail for Dominic Toretto as the car explodes behind him. With an impact that's still being felt in the 9th film, Han's death, both times, is without a doubt the most paused moment in the entire series. It's hard to remember a time when the Fast series wasn't the ridiculous, basically super-heroic juggernaut it is today, but it's easy to figure out where the turning point is. Fast 5 punched audiences right in the face right from its high-octane intro. On a lonely desert road, the gang launches a daring assault on a prison bus. The action slows to a dramatic crawl as the bus flips over Brian's car and careens along until we smash cut into the title card. This introduction is simply brilliant. Fast 5 managed to introduce its main players, blast the plot into overdrive, and set the new standard for its wild action all in under 90 seconds. If that wasn't enough, it also showed us that the Fast franchise is apparently set in the same universe as Parks and Recreation, or at least they cast the same actor who plays Perd Hapley. Compared to the extremes the franchise would go to later, the bus flip pales in comparison, but the raw thrill of such a tightly paced opening remains a highlight of the franchise. Even when they're facing down seemingly impossible odds that could lead to certain doom, Dom Toretto and his crew very rarely show anything resembling fear.
Daddy's gotta go to work.
In Furious 7, though, there's one sequence where they're definitely justified in being a little worried. We see them in a dark space, and then the floor opens up to reveal they're in cars in the hold of a cargo plane that does not seem to be coming in for a landing anytime soon. We've seen some insane stuff in the 6 movies before this, but would they really go skydiving inside cars? Of course they would. The Fast franchise is full of ridiculous stunts, but nothing comes close to this one. Why? Because it's real. They dropped actual cars out of an actual plane. The series has always aimed for real stunts whenever possible, and it cannot be stressed enough. That happened. It's an incredible feat and a moment that earns a pause, and honestly, we'd be scared too. This franchise's relationship with the laws of physics has always been a contentious one, but Fast and Furious 6 went from exaggerating to flagrantly disregarding with its infamously awesome tank scene. If a full-on army tank tearing down the highway wasn't enough, things really get out of control when Dom sees that Letty is about to be thrown off a bridge at high speed. Naturally, he climbs on top of and leaps from his own car, flying across the bridge to catch her mid-air before breaking his impact against the windshield. We might be wrong, but we've only seen that kind of catch in one other place.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me? Who's got you?
To put it mildly, we have questions. How could Dom have possibly calculated his trajectory? And maybe more importantly, how are they not dead? Again. Fast 5's inspired casting of Dwayne Johnson as the relentless government-backed bounty hunter Luke Hobbs is one of the biggest reasons the franchise well and truly took off. From the instant he steps off that plane, Johnson steals every scene he's in with Hobbs' intensity and unexpected quirky humor. While he's immediately a hit, the scene that cemented The Rock's place in the franchise was the chase scene through the favela in Brazil. While Dom and crew desperately flee a hit attempted by a local crime lord, they remain unaware of a second, more dangerous threat. Hobbs. As he leaps between rooftops, Dom looks back midair to see Hobbs bulldozing through a window after him. It's worth pausing the action here for a lot of reasons, but watching Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson exchange their first of many in-character looks of pure hatred is definitely one of them, especially considering the real-world route the two actors took the franchise in from there. Like the tank catch, Dom's big escape plan from Furious 7 is a must-pause moment, just not for the right reasons. After Dom rescues hacker Ramsey, the bad guy keeping her captive traps him against a cliff. With mercenaries on one side and a sheer drop on the other, Dom smiles before launching into a pretty sick burnout, kicking up a cloud of dirt that obscures everything. A reasonable person, even in the F&F universe, might expect that Dom would escape in the confusion, but that's not nearly absurd enough for this movie. He's still there, and all that dust was just to spin his car around to face that cliff. With that, and with Ramsey making the smart decision to put on a helmet, Dom floors it and goes over the cliff, and this time there's no parachute to slow him down. He seems to crash into every rock along the way until finally the car lands upside down and Dom emerges, brushing himself off, and of course is absolutely fine.
It's one way down a mountain.
You'll need to pause this moment just to figure out what the hell happened and how they're not dead. That must have been one heck of a good helmet. With all their talk about the importance of family and the literal world-saving exploits of the later films, it's easy to forget that Dom and his crew are career criminals. The big heist at the end of Fast 5 serves as a good reminder and one of the wildest sequences of the franchise. Brian and Dom have just ripped a 9,000-pound steel vault onto the packed city streets of Rio de Janeiro. They've got it chained to their respective cars, swinging it around like a wrecking ball as they tear around corners, and smashing into the local cops for collisions that are definitely not going to leave a lot of survivors. Don't worry though, we're told that literally every police officer in the city is corrupt, so that part's fine. When they take a sharp turn that sends the vault careening into a crowded bank full of terrified citizens, however, their actions in pursuit of money are a little less lovable. The entire sequence is incredible from start to finish, but that moment with the bank stands above the rest. If you pause it to see the people scrambling out of the way, you also get a chance to think about how Hobbs might have been onto something when he tried to arrest these guys. Whether you like these movies or not, there remains an undeniable objective truth. They're imaginative in a way most modern action movies aren't. The stunts here are so unbelievable, so off the wall, that it feels like only a child could have designed them. Case in point, the zombie carpocalypse of the Fate of the Furious. As part of a plot for world domination that seriously involves blackmailing a street racer, ultra hacker Cypher takes control of an army of self-driving cars to cause chaos in New York City, and then it gets really wild. Not content just to use the cars already on the ground, Cypher decides to make it rain, with dozens of cars pouring down from a parking garage like 2-ton hail. The only problem with watching these movies in the theater is that a moment like this demands to be paused, rewatched, and paused again as you shriek in utter disbelief at how cool that was. We all know how chicken is played. Two people drive straight at each other, each determined not to pull away first. Under normal circumstances, someone swerves at the last minute, but this is Fast and Furious, and these drivers are Dom Toretto and Deckard Shaw. Both men are so oozing with pride and machismo that Furious 7 features not one, but two scenes where our badass leads decide to take it to the extreme and go for the brutal head-on collision both times. The first is a true jaw-dropper on its own that closes out a climactic chase scene. We know these guys are tough, and that they always wear their seatbelts, kids. But this is a whole new level. They plow into each other with a kind of force that would lead to a busy night at the morgue here in the real world. These guys, though? Deckard pops his neck and emerges without a scratch. Dom climbs out a little worse for wear, but still fine. Both cars are totaled masses of twisted steel, and these dudes are still ready for a fist fight, or a giant hammer fight in Dom's case. Somehow, the second time this happens manages to be just as, if not more shocking than the first. Doing it once is one thing, that's already crazy, but twice head-on doing 80 and Dom can still swing around two comically large wrenches? We should have sent these guys to fight Thanos. The Fast and the Furious was about an undercover cop infiltrating illegal street racers who sometimes boost VCRs and VCR TV combos. Kids, ask your parents what those are. More than 15 years and a blockbuster franchise later, The Fate of the Furious sees the same racers now recruited by a secret agent who is saving the world from a cyber terrorist threatening literal nuclear annihilation. It's been a journey. No moment illustrates that better than the submarine. Racing across a tundra to escape hordes of Russian soldiers, the gang already has the odds stacked against them. Then a literal nuclear submarine explodes upward from the frozen lake below, sending a few trucks, or what's left of them, flying in all directions as it too begins chasing the crew. For a second, press pause and imagine you haven't seen any of the movies since the first one, and now you're watching this moment. You'd think this lady was really mad about her VCRs. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.